Yeah, because that is what, kind of I guess a myth that that exists, that Ansel Keys changed the world. Like we ate one way, and then Ansel Keys came and changed everything. And like a lot of people don't realize that there were already these forces were already kind of swirling to move to move our diet in this direction, mainly because we had these giant open plains that were great for growing wheat, and America wanted to sell wheat, but the that idea that we were already starting to walk down this road. In fact, I would listen to an interview with Nina Teicholz, and they kind of pushed her on that. They were like, Ansel Keys, people were already starting to get fat at the time of Ansel Keys. I mean, the reason Ansel Keys existed is because the president had a heart attack. People were already getting heart attacks. And Nina Teicholz pointed out, yeah, that's because these ideas were already in the zeitgeist, that fat was bad for you, and you needed to, if you ate a steak, it was going to clog up your arteries. Ansel Keys didn't invent those lies. He just codified them.
You're absolutely right. The lies started with a church, a religion, the Seventh-day Adventist. And, for the lack of any other way of calling it, a crazy woman in the church, because every church has their crazy church lady.
Right.
And this woman in the 1860s named Ellen White had a premonition. And the premonition was that we shouldn't eat anything with a face. We shouldn't eat any of God's loving beings, any sentient beings. So obviously meat, we couldn't eat meat. And she said,
Right.
We shouldn't eat eggs from chickens because that's embryos, and we shouldn't do any of this. And they had a young writer at the time. He was 15 years old, but he was very prolific, very smart, a guy named John Harvey Kellogg, who was working with the church. And when Kellogg went to college, he became a doctor. He was Dr. Kellogg. He was way into the church, and veganism has started in the church, but nobody could do veganism in the late 1800s because by cutting out meat meant that you would miss one of the vitamins you need to live. It's an essential vitamin, meaning that you have to ingest it. And that's a B vitamin, vitamin B12. And you miss other things from a vegan diet too. So you couldn't really be a vegan, but they were pushing that initiative. And then John Kellogg decided, because part of the church is you're not supposed to masturbate or even have sex unless you are going to have a kid. So
Right.
even with your wife or your husband, you're not supposed to have sex. And they figured out that if you ate less meat or no meat at all, you won't be as virile. So they were trying to get people not to be virile in the church. And Kellogg, being as smart as he is, came up with a thing called dextrinization, where he figured out how you could take wheat or you could take any kind of corn or any kind of carbohydrate and cook it down so much that it becomes a sugar. And that's dextrose. That's where dextrose comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And once he figured out dextrinization, he was able to figure out the Kellogg cornflake. And it was perfect for him because it was what the vegans were talking about. If you ate this product, you were less virile. And hey, John Kellogg can laugh all the way to the bank. So
Right.
It was a win-win. And he had a guy that used to work for him named C.W. Post. And we know what happened with that company. So now you have these companies in this religion pushing an initiative, even though they knew they had a problem. You could not do it because we haven't discovered vitamine yet, which became vitamin.
Mm-hmm.
And once you had exogenous vitamins, now vegans can actually do it because they can supplement with the vitamins, right?
Right.
And by the
Yeah,
way, let me just add this. If you look at cereals, they will say 8 essential vitamins and iron. So they're adding all the vitamin Bs to the product just so that you can eat that and somehow live through it.
Right.